Donald Trump is planning to cut enhanced unemployment benefits because the extra $600 a week is stopping people from returning to work. The unemployment packages have backfired massively. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today on the Daily Mail. Headline: Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell plan to cut enhanced unemployment benefits, claiming the extra $600 a week is stopping people from returning to work. Now, I believe that the current plan for coronavirus, for COVID-19, included unemployment benefits. Everyone who lost their jobs because of coronavirus was meant to get their money. But then this extra $600 was tagged in. Now, I believe that Democrats pushed for this extra $600 a week. I'm sure there were some Republicans in there. But needless to say, it's been an absolute disaster. Because when you give people an extra $600 a week plus what they were getting paid before, they end up making more money unemployed than employed. And what do you think happens when you combine that? People no longer want to work. It's been a disaster. So today we're going to talk about how enhanced unemployment has basically blown up in everyone's faces. A lot of people who need unemployment, who were laid off, are not even receiving unemployment. It's been an absolute disaster. But before we read this story, a quick word from this week's sponsor.
Zuck the cuck drinks water like a duck, but he also drinks your data. So tell him and Google to shove your data up their schwing-schwangs by downloading the Brave browser. It's free, blocks online advertising, and protects your privacy and data from evil tech companies. You only see ads if you want to see them, and you get cryptocurrency for your attention. Don't let Zuck use you to make a buck. Download Brave by clicking on the link down below.
And we're back. So the article begins. President Donald Trump and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell huddled Thursday at the White House as Republicans stake out new plans to phase out coronavirus-related unemployment benefits to encourage Americans to go back to work. Revamping jobless aid is fast becoming the focus of debate over the next virus aid package. Currently, people filing for unemployment received an enhanced $600 a week. Now, I think this story is actually a really good highlight of why socialism doesn't work. See, what happens when you give people more money for not working than working? They stop working. They become lazy. They become entitled. People respond to whoever's going to give them the best deal. But here's the problem. It's not simply that the country can just give everyone money. And I'm going to tell you why. Basic economics. What makes an economic system work, what makes your dollars worth something, is that someone is being productive. Think about it this way. Imagine that you live in a farming community and the government says, you know what? We'll just give everyone cabbages. So they give everyone cabbages. And then people stop farming because, hey, the government will just give them cabbages. But eventually, there's no more cabbages left. And since no one is farming, there's no cabbages produced. There's no work being done. There are no cabbages. That is exactly the same thing here. If no one is working, no one is actually creating anything of value, so the economy isn't producing. And if the economy isn't producing, then the money cannot be given. But some astute scholars will say, well, that's why the government can simply print more money. Sadly, when you print more money, it becomes worthless. Because for money to have value, people have to be working and creating that value. People on unemployment receiving all this money rely on the people who are still working. And if no one is working, there is nothing. There's no value because the extra $600 is worthless if there's no food in the store. So Trump, seeing this as a big problem, is looking to fix it, as are Republicans, much to the dismay of Democrats who believe that we can simply print money into infinity. Zimbabwe did the same thing, and now Zimbabwe money is basically toilet paper. In fact, modern toilet paper is probably worth more than $1 trillion Zimbabwe dollars. So Republicans are pushing for a redesigning of unemployment benefits, aka they want to cut out the extra cash that people are receiving. You might actually want to cut the full unemployment as well, lower it to maybe like 75% of what people were making, or maybe even lower, maybe even half. Now, the reason to do this is not to be cruel. The reason is to get people back to work. People have to work. I mean, that's just how it is. That's the way the system is set up. And I'm not saying that's the best way, but in a way, it's the only way. You cannot, like I said, you cannot have an economy without people producing value. And they produce value through their labor. The products that get made, the services you rely on. Someone's got to make the cars. Someone's got to grow the food. Someone's got to sell the food. Someone's got to keep the power running. You can't just force the so-called essential workers to do all the work because it's not enough. Everyone is necessary for the economy to be fully functioning. You can't simply have half of the population doing nothing. It doesn't work. It's a net drain on the system that will eventually make it collapse as money becomes worthless. So, this hasn't stopped Democrats. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi pushed a new $3 trillion aid package through the House last week. And this package was insane because basically what the Democrats did was add a bunch of things that had nothing to do with coronavirus, nothing to do with the pandemic, just, oh, we want to get this, we want to get money for our friends. It was a Democrat wish list. They were taking advantage of a horrible situation, claiming that, oh, we just want to give Americans more money. We just want to print more money. We don't care if money becomes worthless. Also, we want all of this extra stuff. For us, not for Americans, for us rich, greedy politicians trying to take advantage of your suffering. Of course, it'll never pass. But it's very upsetting to me, deeply disgusted by Democrats at this point. I don't care how long I live, or if the Messiah himself were to run as a Democrat, I would not vote Democrat, because they are a corrupt party. And the true history of the Democratic Party is not very nice either. For those of us who know, we know that they've basically been assholes since the dawn of the Democrats. So the nation's death toll is close to 100,000. And honestly, what may be even more destructive is that there has been layoffs of 38 million jobs, 38 million people. That number is unheard of. It's unprecedented. This cannot go on. We cannot simply stay locked down. A lockdown is supposed to be hard, extreme, and fast. 2 months, max, nationwide lockdown, military delivers food, keeps people alive, all payments suspended. Travel ban for a year to 6 months, 6 months to a year, and then boom, virus solved, virus gone. But that's not what we did. America's quarantine measures were half-assed. So now there's no point, because it hasn't stopped the virus. That being said, if we could get out a vaccine quickly, then maybe I could see the argument. But either way, people gotta work, because the bills don't stop. Maybe the government should have stopped the bills. So the difference of approach and priorities between Democrats and Republicans reflects the partisan split that is defining both parties before the 2020 election. It's become a huge issue. Democrats have always been short-sighted. They believe they can just print more money forever and nothing bad will ever happen. We won't end up like Zimbabwe. The economy won't collapse and everything will be fine. But Republicans have always been more long-term thinking, more prudent, and smarter about money. They understand economics. People need to work. So the Senate has discussed going into recession, recessing from court, and basically being lazy buttholes who don't want to do the work. And, you have some senators saying, no, we need to do the work. Now is not the time for the Senate to go home, tweeted Gardner, who is among the most politically endangered GOP senators running for re-election in the fall. Gardner wanted agreement to extend the Small Business Paycheck Protection Program and pushed for more funds for state and local governments facing layoffs. Basically this allows business owners to take loans to absorb losses from COVID-19 and then have those loans forgiven, almost essentially like free money. So, the government has tried to do things, but the issue is now that if you give people too many benefits, they just stop working. And there's your conundrum, because a society of leechers doesn't work. It doesn't, and I've explained why. It will collapse. Now, I'm not saying that anyone on unemployment is leeching. If I was laid off, I would apply. But I'm saying that it's not sustainable. It can't go on. It's like riding a boat across a lake, and there's a hole in the boat. It's not a big hole. It's kind of small, but water's getting through. And instead of scooping the water out of the boat, you just, whatever, it's not a big deal. I'll just sit here and not do any work. Well, the boat will eventually sink before you cross the lake. It's not sustainable. Same thing here. So unemployment insurance is becoming a new priority for Republicans. People have warned that the $600 weekly boost is stopping people from coming back to work. It was a mistake to make it so high to begin with, says Senator Rand Paul. Republicans are hopeful that states will reopen and that the economy will improve, lessening the need for federal funds. But if workers refuse to work, they worry companies can't begin to rebound. Yes, I've heard reports that many of the jobs, the thousands and thousands of jobs that have been lost, will never come back. So, some senators have suggested that workers get a one-time $1,200 bonus for going back to work, and these conversations are happening at the highest level of the White House. The article finishes off saying, polling shows that Americans are concerned about the second wave of the virus as shops and workplaces reopen. A poll by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research found that 83% of Americans are at least somewhat concerned, and 54% are extremely concerned. Now, I don't know how those numbers add up, but there you have it. People have to work. I mean, that's how it is. So here, I want to look at the comment section because there's real people, real Americans, who are describing how these policies haven't worked. Macaroni22 says, $15 an hour is $36K a year. The current unemployment check in Tennessee is $825 weekly or $49.5K a year. So if you're going to stay on unemployment, you're making like 10 grand extra a year. Where's that value coming from? It's not coming from anywhere. They're just printing money. I've heard businesses have trouble filling roles because former employees are refusing to work because unemployment is higher. The grift ends in 2 months, people. Well, you know, if this is true, if a lot of people are refusing to work, like I'm going to graduate soon from university. I'll have my bachelor's. Maybe I can take one of these jobs. It'd be nice. I need to comment that I don't know exactly how this person is doing their math, but, you know, I would like to see some more accurate numbers. I don't know, maybe they're including overtime work or something like that. So we're going to end the story with this comment. Niwa says, before you criticize, this is real. I'm in this position myself. I'm actually making more money now than I did before I was laid off. And there absolutely are loads of people who don't want to go back to work. And there you have it, folks. Why would people want to work when they could do nothing and get money, more money for free? Dumb plan. And, you know, it's blown up in everyone's faces. It's not good. The economy will collapse and everyone will suffer. But you know what, my friends? That's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? I know it's a tough one. I mean, yeah, if I could make more money not working than working, I would. All I got was the measly $1,200 check, which I immediately spent on tuition. So, you know, these people who are laid off are making way more money than I am, and more people who are working. Is that really fair? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Now, as always, if you want to support the content, consider joining me on Patreon or Subscribestar. If you want to donate, there's DonorBox, links and addresses down below. And of course, one of the best things you can do is simply to share the video. It's one of the best ways you can boost my videos in the algorithms on websites, on platforms. Go ahead, post me around if you think the video's worthy. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.